Welcome to First Unitarian. Please rise in body or spirit as we sing May Your Life Be as a Song. Resounding in the dawn, to sing awake a light, and softly serenade the stars, ever dancing circles in the night. May your life be as a song, resounding with your dawn, to sing awake a light, and softly serenade the stars, ever dancing circles in the night. One more time, and may your life be as a song, resounding for your dawn, to sing awake a light, and softly serenade the stars, ever dancing circles in the night.
Welcome to First Unitarian Church of Rochester. Good morning. It is a good day to be together. It is a good day for a good day. Happy Path of Totality. Happy Eclipse weekend, y'all. We are very excited for tomorrow, but here we are today, and I, for one, am thrilled to be with all of you. I know we've got some out-of-town visitors today. If you have traveled here, would you mind just raising your hand? Welcome to Rochester. We are so glad that you are here. Welcome to the First Unitarian Church of Rochester, where it is our mission, through spiritual connection in community, we listen deeply to others and ourselves. We open to wonder and transformation, and we serve together with love and humility. We gather here on the ancestral and contemporary land of the Haudenosaunee people, the keepers of the Western Door, and specifically the Seneca people within the Haudenosaunee. We gather here knowing that if you're here because you're visiting from out of town, you may just be dropping in for a moment, but there are some of you here who are dipping a toe in, dropping in. That was not scripted. And I'm going to take a step back. But I hope that you will take a movement forward toward community. And if you're here for the first or second time, I invite you to stop by the welcome desk. Help us help you get connected. After worship, we gather in small groups across a bunch of different activities, trying to really get to know each other better, even better than we can all together now. And of course, tomorrow, we've got a whole lot going on. I'll tell you all about it later. And regardless of what happens now and tomorrow, the eclipse will still happen. All right. So let's just take a comfortable breath. All right, and we are going to light our chalice together. We're going to join in our unison words. If you don't know what those are, we've got them up here. And if you're not yet reading, that's okay. The rest of us got you. I'm going to invite Mary Ann and Katie to light our chalice, and we'll back them up with our voices. Life is a gift for which we are grateful. We gather in community to celebrate the glories and the mysteries of this great gift.
please rise in body or spirit as we sing Moon Shadow. Lyrics up on the screens. I'm being followed by a moon shadow, moon shadow, moon shadow. A leaping and hopping on a moon shadow, moon shadow, moon shadow. And if I ever lose my hands, lose my power, lose my land, and if I ever lose my hands away, I won't have to work no more. And if I ever lose my eyes, if my colors all run dry, or if I ever lose my eyes away, I won't have to cry no more. I'm being followed by a moon shadow, moon shadow, moon shadow. A leaping and hopping on a moon shadow, moon shadow, moon shadow. And if I ever lose my legs, I won't moan and I won't beg. Oh, if I ever lose my legs away, I won't have to walk no more. And if I ever lose my mouth, all my teeth, north and south, oh, if I ever lose my mouth away, I won't have to talk. I'm being followed by a moon shadow, moon shadow, moon shadow. A leaping and hopping on a moon shadow, moon shadow, moon shadow. Did it take long to find me? Asked the faithful lie. Oh, did it take long to find me? And you're gonna stay the night. I'm being followed by a moon shadow, moon shadow, moon shadow. A leaping and hopping on a moon shadow, moon shadow, moon shadow. Moon shadow, moon shadow. Moon shadow, moon shadow.
Hello, I'm Necole Almond. I use she, her pronouns. Is it on? Okay. Oh, there we go. I'm Necole Almond. I use she, her pronouns. And I'm going to take you back a few years, back to 1984, when I was in second or third grade. There was a huge astrological event happening at that time, a solar eclipse. And it was all over the news, and it was all over my school. In English class, we were reading about solar eclipses in the news articles. In science class, we were learning about solar eclipses and lunar eclipses by shining flashlights against the window shades and putting spherical objects in between. In math class, we were making pinhole cameras so that we could observe the solar eclipse without damaging our eyes. And we were told to go home as our homework assignment and watch the news broadcasts and write about them. So it was all solar eclipse all the time. And it wasn't even totality. So then the big day came, and my entire elementary school Mind you, it wasn't a huge school. We all went out on our play yard, and we gathered up in pairs with our cameras. Some had parents who had those fancy glasses at the time, so they were able to look at the eclipse directly, but most of us had our pinhole cameras. And we gathered in our groups, and it was lucky because we got to intermix in between grades. And we watched the solar eclipse. And I think that's why we come to church, so that we can build up to an event as a group and witness the event as a community. So I invite you to turn to somebody that you don't know and say hi.
Our reading today is an original poem from a member of our congregation, Mary Ann Samuelson-Vi.
Eclipse. Wonders of a solar eclipse. A solar eclipse is broad daylight in shadows. A solar eclipse is an unimaginable display of luminescent lunar and extraordinary solar. A solar eclipse is a wispy cloud of light around a soot-colored moon. A solar eclipse is an astronomical wonder only one strip of world can see.
Good morning. I'm Amanda Graff, the Acting Director of Religious Education here at First Unitarian. So, humans have always been fascinated by what we see unfolding in the stars. For thousands of years, perhaps since the beginning of human history, our ancestors stared into the heavens and told stories to explain what they saw there. Tomorrow, in Rochester, we will experience the totality of a solar eclipse. By some miracle of nature, our moon is just the right size and distance between the sun and the earth to make a total solar eclipse possible. This is something we aren't likely to witness more than once or maybe twice in our lifetimes. Thousands of years ago, our ancestors had little knowledge of the science behind a solar eclipse. For many of them, the sun and moon were great gods in the heavens. Like us, they depended on the sun for warmth and life. Without it, plants would not grow, and all the world would be cold. So, on the rare occasion of a solar eclipse, when the moon covered the sun in the heavens and everything became dark as night, how do you think they felt? A little worried, right? This celestial being, this God that brought life and warmth, was being obscured. It might have made a few of them nervous. So, many of them told stories in which the sun was being devoured. They had to explain what was going on. Why was this happening? In China, it was a hungry dog who tried to eat the sun. In Vietnam, a giant frog. In India and Japan, angry gods seeking revenge. And in Norse mythology, the trickster Loki sends two hungry wolves to chase the sun and the moon across the sky each day. If one of the wolves catches the sun, it attempts to eat it and causes a solar eclipse. Makes sense, right? Right? Yeah. In many ancient cultures, it made sense to raise the alarm, to try and scare off the hungry celestial beasts and save the sun from being devoured. People beat drums, set off fireworks, and cried to the heavens. So, just in case we're wrong, I thought we could raise our voices a little bit today, in anticipation. So let's go ahead, we'll start low, and we'll get a little louder, just to make sure we're scaring away those celestial demons in case they're there. Ready? So, great. I think that's like a good insurance policy that we just took out. Okay. So some of our other ancestors believed that the eclipse wasn't such a disastrous omen. They believed that it might be a romantic meeting between the sun and the moon that populated the sky with thousands of stars. Still others understood that during a solar eclipse, the sun and moon were fighting. So there's a tribe of people in northern Africa, there was long, long ago, that saw this fight between the sun and the moon and believed that they could help them come back together by themselves taking a period of asking forgiveness and putting aside arguments and helping the sun and moon to stop fighting by themselves, letting that stuff go and coming together in community. Today, we know that the sun is a star. The moon, a broken off piece of the earth that now orbits our planet. Every 20 years in our area of the world, we have the chance to witness them come together. The union will only last for a few minutes, but the effect will be powerful. May we stay open to the power and mystery of this shared celestial miracle. May this story unfold in your hearts until we meet again.
So when Amanda was first talking about all of these different stories, she had that a dragon eats the sun in China. And I said, well, yeah, that story does exist. It exists in lots of different ways, but also sometimes it's a dog. Each part of the world has lots of different ways about talking about what's going to happen tomorrow. I'm going to ask us to tilt all the way over into one particular story. So there's a Chinese legend of a very skilled archer, a human who interacts with the cosmos, and his name is Hu Yi. Now, Hu Yi is mortal, a regular guy, except extremely good at shooting things out of the sky, which comes in handy in all sorts of ways. There are mythical beasts and monsters that need to be taken down for the protection of humanity. But something strange happens one day. The Jade Emperor, who's sometimes also called the Emperor of Heaven, the King of Heaven, the Jade Emperor has grandchildren, the 10 sons. Now, you may think there are not 10 suns in this planetary system, but this is an older story. This is before your time. Yeah. Fortunately, we had people looking out for us for generations to come, and the 10 sons took turns moving through the sky. But as children do, they got playful one day, and they all came out all at the same time. And you can imagine it was very hot. Extremely hot, 10 times hotter than the planet is now. We're trending towards that. This was disastrous. Crops started to burn, people started to get incredibly thirsty, and people begged the Jade Emperor to do something about his grandchildren. But as grandparents sometimes are, he was too permissive. He said, "Oh, don't do that." But he didn't really mean it. And things got worse and worse. And finally, Hu Yi said, "We've got to do something about this." And so he took out his bow, strung with dragon strength, and shot down sun after sun after sun, until eventually there was one son left who ran and hid in a cave. Understandably, things were not going well for sons that day. And it was too cold and too dark, and humanity also suffered. But the king and the queen of heaven convinced this final son to reappear. And to thank Hu Yi for restoring balance to the universe, they gave him a tiny little piece of medicine. Medicine in the form of cake, as it often is still. And that would make him immortal, would make him a god. And he wasn't totally sure that that's what he wanted, so he put it on a shelf, and then his wife ate it. Which has happened to me before. But as far as I know, unlike in my circumstances, Hui's wife, Chang'e, became immortal and actually became the moon, went up to the celestial spheres and became the moon. But she left some of it for her husband. But as has happened to me, the dog came and ate it. A big dog also became immortal and went up to the celestial spheres and, well, got hungry and so ate the moon. Things were not going well. Again, the Jade Emperor, not totally sure what was going on in this human family, reemerged to say, listen, I know you were hungry, but do you think you could vomit up the moon? We need it. We need her. And so the dog did. And again, harmony and balance was restored. But occasionally, the dog still makes mistakes and gobbles up the moon and occasionally the sun. One story of what will happen tomorrow.
Everything our church does for ourselves and others is made possible by what we bring to it. Each week, we practice shared generosity to support the work and witness of Unitarian Universalism in Rochester, and half of our Sunday offering goes to a partner organization working to create a more just and loving world. Today, we share our plate with the Tom Fry Storybook Trail. This is a nature trail that has storybook pieces along it. It is named after Tom Fry, a former county executive who is also a member of this church, was a member of this church. In the spirit of abundance and generosity, our offering will now be received with gratitude.
Here's another story about eclipses. A few years after he discovered the New World, Christopher Columbus found his way to Jamaica. 3 ships, as was his pattern, came with him. But despite the advanced science of Spanish and Portuguese and Dutch explorers at the time, Christopher found himself with 2 ships eaten by worms. This was not how things were supposed to go on his way to India. So, washed up on the shores of Jamaica, Christopher finds himself in need of help. And there is help to be found. Greeted on the beach are the indigenous people of this place. And for his crew, who are hungry and hurting and afraid, they find help, trading trinkets and metal goods and arms. They get food, water, sustenance. But days turn to weeks, turn to months. And after about 6 months, these newcomers who see themselves as in charge are starting to grind on the nerves of the people who lived in this place. They try to renegotiate their relationship, perhaps suggest that the sailors work for food. This doesn't go over well, and Christopher Columbus starts to hatch a plan. Consulting an almanac that he's brought with him, he sees that there's a lunar eclipse coming in 3 days. And so in a negotiation meeting, he tells them that my God, the God of Jesus Christ, will take away the moon in 3 days' time because he is mad at you. Which sounds unlikely. And yet, a nibble starts to come toward the moon, and soon a red shadow falls over it. And this is terrifying. And so they re-enter into negotiations. The Arawak people and Christopher Columbus wonder what is to be done. Now, Christopher knows this will last about an hour, so he goes into his ship's quarters and sits for 50 minutes, twiddling his thumbs, and then comes out and says, "Okay, my God will forgive you." And then the moon is restored. Now, Christopher Columbus uses the knowledge he has as a weapon here, yes, to protect his own crew, but also to exploit others. And we now know that there are other explanations at play, not just the cosmological mythologies of people past and present, but science. Celestial beings moving in ways that can be measured, observed, and predicted. We now know that tomorrow, for 3 minutes and 23 seconds, we here in Rochester will experience the sun completely blotted out by the moon. Science does not take away, though, the wonder and the mystery and the magic and the fear and the terror and the uncertainty of all that is to happen. We certainly don't know about the weather, and we may not worship the sun here. If we do, you live in the wrong place. We may not worship the sun, but science tells us that all of life depends on it, that everything here on this planet depends on that one star around which we rotate, around which it wobbles and dances, and we move with it. Science tells us this clearly, and often our spirits are waiting to catch up, waiting to understand the interdependence that science so clearly maps out for us. I spent some of this week getting real nerdy about the eclipse. Here at this church for a year, we've had a group of people planning tomorrow's festivities, and they have tried to tell me about the magic and the mystery and the wonder and the spirit-filled amazement of tomorrow. But it wasn't until this week that I really allowed myself to tilt fully over into not what's going to happen in worship on Sunday, or what's going to happen in worship on Monday afternoon, or what's going to happen, will there be enough things for the potluck, or will enough people wear yellow today? The answer is yes, I see you, you're looking great. It wasn't until this week that I let myself fully tilt over into the what the heck is going to happen tomorrow? And what are the scientists telling us about it? It wasn't until last Saturday, that I learned about Bailey's beads. How many of you know about Bailey's beads? A fair amount of you, but not all of you. Your life is about to get better. So, Bailey's beads, named after Bailey, certainly, have to do with the moon's limb. How many of you know what the moon's limb is? An even smaller number, because that is a weird word to describe what I am about to talk about. The moon's limb is the edge of the moon. It is the surface of the moon. I guess I keep my limbs on the outside, so that makes sense. I'm sure one of our nerds can explain it to you later better. But the moon's limb is not smooth, not like a balloon, but full of valleys and craters, divots and peaks. And when the moon moves over the sun tomorrow, by which I mean moves between us and the sun, for moments, we will be able to see, theoretically, the sun's rays moving through those valleys, be able to see glimmers, pools of light moving through landscapes incredibly far away from us, and yet of our closest dance partner in the cosmos. All of science, all of these stories give us a framework to understand the magic and mystery and terror of tomorrow. All of these can be a distraction, a way to explain away what might happen if we allow ourselves to fully be in it, or they might give us a framework on which we can hang moments of beauty, ways to understand what we are about to experience. Anxiety about potlucks, worry about the weather, all of these are frameworks that we can use to distance ourselves from the hours that we get to spend in the graceful solitude of our own company, or here at church, or in your backyard, or wherever it is that you choose to be. There are many right answers, but church is the best answer. Where these frameworks can allow us to focus. We look to the patron saint of Unitarian Universalism, Mary Oliver, for tomorrow's recipe, with her instructions for living a life. Pay attention. Be astonished. Tell about it. Some of you have seen a total eclipse before. Some of you have told others about it. Some of you have told me about it. A year ago, when we first gathered to talk about what it would be like to be in the path of totality, one of you described not expecting it at all, not knowing that this would happen the last time it happened to you, and just driving in your car and noticing suddenly that things were changing. The birds went quiet, the sky went dark, and though you felt like you didn't have the right words for it, you said later, "The only thing I can tell you is that it's spooky as hell." Tomorrow, I ask you, even if clouds cover our sky, even if you're just taking a moment away from work. That what life offers us is not words, is not frameworks, but a chance to glimpse something that is as spooky as heaven, as spooky as paradise, as spooky as the universe opening themselves up to us, inviting us in the most intimate family fights and romances. I invite us to give ourselves over totally to awe, to open ourselves to the possibility of what may be. There is no one right answer. Some of you may cry, some of you may wonder, is this all there is? Some of you may find that the tag on your shirt is too itchy. Whatever it is, I invite you to ground yourself from now until then in all of the words that you need to focus and pay attention, and then to let tomorrow be what it will be. And so, to help us set down those worries, set down those expectations just for a moment, I invite us to enter into meditation. Ground yourself in your seat. And if you're comfortable, close your eyes. Imagine that you have very cool First Unitarian Eclipse glasses over you. Here we go. We are flying through the universe 1,000 miles an hour. Around us dances the moon. Whether a hungry wife or our perfect sky vision, she wobbles, moving up and down, closer and further away. Further still, our closest star. This star, ours, one among so many, infinitesimally small, and yet to us, huge. Whatever it is that we're carrying in our hearts today, whatever meals we will need to put on our table before now and then, whatever worries nip at our heels like a big dog hungry for a snack. Tomorrow, the dance will still happen. Here in this place, let us set down fear. Let us set down worry. Let us set down having to be someone else. The temptation to be something else. Wherever you are now is exactly where you are meant to be. Wherever you are tomorrow is exactly where you are meant to be. Bringing energy up into your feet and moving it into your core. And pushing it out into your limbs. I invite you to raise your shoulders as if you are peaks on the moon. Through the valleys of your head and shoulders, the sun's rays come streaming in. Now release that energy. whatever you have to give, whoever you are, tomorrow comes. May it be so. As Pablo leads us in song, when you are ready, I invite you to open your eyes to rejoin this moment.
Let's sing together. I am light, I am light. I am light, I am light. I am light, I am I'm not the mistakes that I have made, or any of the things that caused me pain. I am not the pieces of the dream I left behind. I am light.
So I'm going to invite you to join me in some movement. So if everybody that is willing and able will come and stand up. So there are so many things that we can't control in the unfolding of life, including the weather for our shared eclipse experience tomorrow. In the spirit of embracing wonder and also the power of our collective intention, I invite you to join me in this movement prayer. May we soften, we'll do it twice. So you can either watch or join me in the first one, and then we'll all join together the second time. May we soften our gentle hearts to the experience of awe. May we open our eyes to the wonders that are all and always around us. May we set our collective intention for clear skies tomorrow. And this is where we get to do a little improvising. So we're going to move the clouds aside. Move them aside. Maybe push one away. Maybe flick one away. We're moving the clouds aside. Spirit of life, let us see and feel clearly. Let us open fully to mystery and wonder. And if you are so inclined, let tomorrow be clear and sunny in Rochester. So let's do it one more time together. May we soften our gentle hearts to the experience of awe. Open our eyes to the wonders that are all and always around us. Set our collective intention for clear skies tomorrow. Boop, flick, move the clouds away. Spirit of life, let us see and feel clearly. Let us open fully to mystery and wonder. And if you are so inclined, let tomorrow be clear and sunny in Rochester. Hey!
So if you haven't noticed, we are very excited about the eclipse around here. Tomorrow, starting at 1, because traffic's going to be bad, we've got yoga and meditation, and our nature-based spirituality group is leading a service right before the eclipse starts. Then there's totality. Yeah, you can sit down if you want. I see this front row's like, oh, Sherry's going to talk a long time. It's not going to... I appreciate you holding out. It keeps me honest. Stay there. All right. All right, I'll reel it in. But after the totality, we have a service here. It's poetry and music, which isn't Pablo great? Pablo's great. And then then we've got a potluck after that. It's going to be a great day tomorrow wherever you are. But once again, this is a great place to be. I hope I see you here tomorrow, right here, right after this. If you haven't picked up Eclipse classes yet, my guess is if you're in this room, you probably have. But if not, or if you sat on yours earlier or you lost them, it's a great time to get them, and it's a fundraiser for the church, and they're very cute. There's a chalice on them. Highly recommend. More Eclipse things. There's art creation happening. There's games for all ages. The young adults, folks who are 18 to 35, are meeting. BIPOC families. So if you are the family or you are someone who is Black, Indigenous, or a person of color, you're all meeting. There's an anti-racism circle for white parents. And there's a Soul Matters pop-up. So if you are not in a Soul Matters group, but you've always wondered, what the heck is that? Go to that. It's pretty cool. There's coffee through those doors, as well as Oreos, if the kids haven't beat us to them. It is a great day to be together. It is a joy to be with all of you. We're going to eclipse our flame here with our unison words. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Today, tomorrow, and for all the days to come, pay attention, be astonished, tell about it. This is a brave and loving world. Go in peace, go in courage. I love you. Amen.